Do we create our reality? Do we create our world? Do we have control over what happens outside of us? Obviously, we don't, or at least we don't think we do. We don't have direct control of what happens outside of us, usually. We can't control people, places, or things. Or can we? Can we, by monitoring and controlling our thinking, actually control our outer world? Is that possible? I believe it is possible. What happens too many times to many of us is something happens and we never correlate the happening to what we have been thinking habitually for days, months, years. We never put the two together. Because sometimes the connection is not so direct that it's obvious. Most of the time, it's not a direct, obvious connection. It's an indirect connection. Just because you're thinking about being robbed doesn't actually mean that criminals are going to approach you with guns and rob you. But maybe you will be robbed of your peace of mind by someone you love. Now that's a form of robbery, but it's not exactly what you were thinking of, or not exactly what you were watching on TV. How can you sit and watch none of my 1,653 subscribers, or if you're on Instagram, none of my 10,500 followers? You're not going to sit and watch 4 to 6 hours of TV at night. But if you're someone other than my friends that do that, how can you expect to have a peaceful, wonderful life if you're watching violence, drama, adventure? Well, some adventure, but most of the adventure on movies is pretty violent. You watch a typical adventure movie nowadays, and there's how many killings, car wrecks, it's just constant. It just has to be more. Because people become desensitized by social media, by the news media, by the constant blaring of advertisements, programming their mind with someone else's agenda. How can you expect to find a peaceful, prosperous life if you're constantly allowing that to be programmed into your mind? And it's amazing how people don't think about that. When everyone believes that every action that you take is preceded by a thought, then how come so many people can't realize that their life is a summation of their actions, which are preceded by thinking? So it's very important what you think throughout the day. Are you thinking the same thing today you thought yesterday and expecting your life to change? If your actions truly are preceded by your thoughts and you think the same thing every day, and then your actions are going to be very similar today to what they were yesterday, then how can you expect a change? You are allowing someone else, media, news media, big business, big farm, whoever it happens to be, to program you with their agenda. During this last 2 or 3 years of this health crisis we had, it was the constant background noise of, don't you care about your family? Don't you care about your friends? Go get this taken care of today. Get the jab. You need this to protect yourself and your family. Let's end this now. Now that wasn't something that you were hearing consistently unless you're watching CNN blaring in your face, but in the background. Many places I went to when I would buy food and different things, I could hear that in the background. I seen billboards all over with these promotions of their agenda, what they felt like you should do for yourself as well as for your fellow man. So these things have an effect on you. They've done studies. They used to put subliminal messages in movie theaters to get you to buy more popcorn, more candy, more soda, and they actually work. You never even see the message or hear the message consciously, but it goes into your subconscious. Repetition is the mother of invention. So if you hear these messages over and over, it's the same message, the same agenda, over and over all day long, it gets into your subconscious and you eventually start doing what these things are telling you to do, which is not your agenda, but it's someone else telling you, you need to do this for your own good. And I'm not here to say whether it was good, whether it was bad. That's your choice. Believe whatever you like to believe, whatever works for you, because the power of your belief will make it so. There can be more than one truth. Now, that's something people really struggle with. But we all experience life within our minds. You think it's out there. What you see is out there. You're not seeing it out there. You're seeing it within yourself. It's just like the guy who says, I'll take this into the dating scene because I know a lot of you guys like to learn things about that. It's like game is all inner game. One man thinks because he's not 6 foot tall, he doesn't have 6-pack abs, and he doesn't make a 6-figure income, he can't get a girl. So he walks around with this belief in his mind. And this determines his actions. So how many girls do you think he's going to pick up or get, or is he ever going to get a good girlfriend, a nice woman, if he believes this? No, because he doesn't feel like he's good enough. And his actions will stem from his thoughts, which create his beliefs. But contrary to that, another man who is the same size, he's not 6. I'll use my son, for example, my oldest son, 22 years old. He's about 5'6", somewhere in there. He's in fair shape, but he's actually got heavy a couple times. But he doesn't have 6-pack abs. He's not like Arnold Schwarzenegger or even close to anything like that. But the guy has no problem picking up girls. As a matter of fact, he's in a relationship with a girl now. They're having a baby. She's a beautiful girl, very attractive. What's the difference? Thinking, beliefs. Thinking, which determines your beliefs, which you have complete control over. How do you think you got to the point where you don't believe that anybody wants you now because you're not tall enough, you're not rich enough, you're not in shape enough? By your dominant thinking, which you can change. Now, you can't directly control your outer environment immediately, but by changing your thinking, which changes your beliefs and changes your actions, eventually the outer world will start to correspond with your inner world, with your thinking. You have complete control. The kingdom of heaven is within. Your heaven, your heaven emanates itself in your outer world from within. What is going on in here is a direct reflection out there. The world is a mirror. The world is a reflection of what's going on in here, within yourself, within your mind. You are the king of the kingdom in your mind. No one else can make you think anything. But if I revert back to what I was talking about earlier, we allow people to control our thinking because we allow them to put their messages in our mind with their agenda. You think it doesn't affect you? Have you ever experienced this? You're listening to the radio, you hear this song and you just hate it. It just annoys the hell out of you. So you shut it off. And I mean, this is a hit song and you're listening to a hit station. And every time you turn around, this song comes on, but you shut it off. And then maybe a week, 2 weeks, a month, a couple months later, you catch yourself singing that song, a verse from that song. And you're like, what the hell? Yeah, that's how it works. Or have you ever been around someone who says something or does something that just annoys the hell out of you? And then you find yourself later on down the road doing the same thing. How is that? You didn't like that. Whatever you hate or love is drawn into your life. The emotion is what fuels these things. So whenever you desire something, desire it with a strong emotion. and have persistence and belief, and of course take action when intuition nudges you to take action. What happens too many times, though, is people get an intuitive nudge to take an action, which is what they're supposed to do. Their inner being knows that, but then they start rationalizing things. And if I take it back to the girls and the guy who didn't think he was good enough, he may meet a girl, see her out there, and the first thing he thinks is, man, I want to talk to her. But then he starts thinking, well, God, she's not going to like me. I'm not very tall, and I don't play football, and I really don't make too much money. And then she walks away. He talks himself out of doing what he needed to do to get what he wanted. We all have opportunities, and many times we don't even see the opportunities because we don't believe that we can experience these things. That's the problem. We don't believe, and our beliefs come from what our dominant thinking is. Our dominant thinking determines our beliefs. First, you have to ask yourself, what are you thinking about? What do you think about during the day? Become aware of your thoughts. Become aware of what's going on right now. If you're watching this right now, there are probably hundreds of thousands of things going on within your awareness that you're not paying attention to, because your mind, your conscious mind, filters all that out. And you're just focused on what my words are saying right now, what you're hearing me say. But your subconscious doesn't miss a lick. It takes in everything that's ever happened to you from the time you were born. What you've heard, what you've seen, what you've smelled, it's all in there. It's all in that powerhouse. And that subconscious mind is connected to what they call the superconscious, or God if you like, which has knowledge of everything that's ever happened from eternity since we've been here. And you can connect to that mind. Many of the greats, Albert Einstein, I think Napoleon Hill talked about it. Many people talked about it, how they connected to this superconscious, all-knowing mind. They call it universal mind, one mind. And you too have a way to connect to that, but you will never connect to it if you have constant chatter in the background, the radio, the TV playing, billboards. You have to eliminate these things out of your consciousness and focus on what you desire. Find a place of silence, meditation. Come to a place of no mind, where you don't have all these millions of thoughts running through your mind. It's like a mental disease. Some people call it the monkey mind. Take time to be into nature. Take time to be silent and listen to the voice of God, or the voice of infinite intelligence, or divinity, or whatever you want to call it. Call it what you like. It's the same energy, the same power. And you have that within you to use whenever you want to. You just need to make an effort to contact that. And you can have that beautiful girl, millions of dollars, millions of acres of land, whatever you want, you can have that. But first you have to believe it, and you do have to take some action, which is to shut off that monkey mind. That's it for today. Inspired by somebody I watched on YouTube last night. I'm going to go. If you'd like to get my help personally, marksinspiration.com. I hate to say life coach, but that's the term people are familiar with. So I've had a lot of life experience, and I'm willing to share that with you to help you. If you'd like to get my help, check me out, send me a message, and we'll do a consultation. Take care. My son is downstairs yelling at the games. Have a great day.